Some students on the First Coast are getting back to school this week, and teachers will be teaching new African American history standards that have drawn criticism from across the country for whitewashing history. I spoke to a college professor who has a really interesting perspective on this issue because not only was he a keynote speaker at a history education conference, his expertise is in the civil rights movement.
Yeah, that is actually an authentic comic book that tells the story of the Montgomery bus boycott in comic book form.
Dr. Michael Butler is a history professor at Flagler College in St. Augustine. His expertise is the civil rights movement in the U.S. He just spoke at a conference of more than 100 history teachers in Florida's public schools. They wanted to talk about the state's controversial new African American history standards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Standards that are accused of whitewashing history. He said many of the teachers do not like the standards. After speaking at several of these events over the years, Butler noticed something different this year.
That 18 months ago, when everything was beginning to happen from the legislative perspective, stop woke, don't say gay, that there was a lot of confusion and a lot of real fear from teachers about what they could teach, what they couldn't teach. And now with the latest African American history standards, there's a lot more anger.
One of the standards that has drawn criticism states some enslaved people gained skills that later benefited them. Butler says it's more than that.
It lists approximately 17 names of people who were enslaved and used their status to acquire skills that proved beneficial to them, when in fact 9 of the 17 were never enslaved.
Butler also says if students are taught the new standards in primary school, he expects a lot of confusion and necessary reteaching once they get to his classes and other college courses.
At the college level, we're going to have to do a lot of deprogramming to demonstrate through the primary sources exactly what human enslavement looked like to those who were enslaved.
But Florida's Commissioner of Education defends the new African American history standards, saying in a tweet, Florida is focused on teaching true and accurate African American history. The college professor says the new standards will make teaching much more difficult for primary school teachers who are working with primary sources to teach in their classrooms, as well as for college professors.